Hello. As you can see, this month for everyone is starting off very upfront, very blunt. We leave Gemini season and Cancer seasons being very clear with our fears, with what we haven't faced, what we have yet to face, what we need to face within ourselves. And for you, it's about what you need to run with. It's about what you need to use this time of refinement that we've been talking about so much of with yourself. I actually don't think this was out before, but I think, now we're just going to keep it here. You come into this month and you feel like you've won or taken what you've needed. And then it shows you a side of yourself that only Cancer season can do. That right before your season, it's just really clear, like, if you want to have as much fun and whatever that looks like for you, because I know we talked about it a lot, and you may have changed, a lot of you. Things have changed possibly in your life enough to the point where you look at fun differently. You look at your approach to life differently. You look at all things in terms of how you want to continue. What's being created now is a greater sense of yourself, a greater sense of what is needed, what the parts of you that are less refined are able to teach or show or create from. The rawness of Gemini season into the raw textures of Cancer season, into the textures, the colors, the creation, the motherhood, the protection. You may want to find you want to protect yourself more, or what you're creating, or if you have kids, more this month. Most importantly, it's about your stature, what you believe in, what do you choose to believe in, and how that influences the change that's continuously going on within your life. You may feel extra needy in terms of needing something spiritual to place your foundation in. The new moon comes up rather quickly for you, the 28th. It brings your awareness from what you are experiencing in terms of what around you is so brightly lit in the dark. What parts of shadow from your traditional upbringing no longer meet what's exactly present for you. I have a 5th house in Leo, and today I was thinking about what else I would love to create and how I've never had this freedom before, and traditionally I was not raised this way. And there's a lot of us out there who are breaking these kinds of patterns in the world, and that's why another reason why things are shifting the way that they are. And I know you don't always want to talk about that, but I think you're really intrigued by it more. Not just because it's trendy or it's because it's something that you can shed light to, but there's a part of you that always needs a cool down before it's your time. This is a total preparation for your season, that knowing that whatever you go through now, or whatever is revealed to you now, is ultimately going to be healed through the sun of your season, but also celebrated. But also, you want to be ahead of it. You want to be in the center of it strongly. And we're not saying that having vulnerabilities and shadows is not strength. It is. It's true strength if it shows you anything. But what is offered to you and what is coming your way is a very clear part of your path where, whether it was you who is the head of the business or the head of it all or planning it all, there's this need to not work or put yourself in too deep. Now, it's funny because I've been talking to quite a few other signs, well, let's say all the water signs, about putting and immersing yourself into something to the point of like exhaustion. There's nothing else you can give but to give it up to God or give it up to the world or put it out there for people to see and let it be this more interactive, let it be this alive process. And that's what happens when you put things out there and you create. And what I was thinking about earlier was how much I want to create and what in my life I can create from. And how exciting it is, but how crazy how it's so free out here. There's so much that the world tells you not to do, but art is meant to break free from that. And that's a part of you who you even want to break free from the restraints that you've seen your shadow in, that you appreciate more than ever now. I think most of you, the light of the moon and the darkness and being able to see in the dark, but also the times where you get to rest. Not saying you are exactly the sun, but you do give a lot of life around you. And having this mindset, there's something very quickly into the month by the new moon, like I said, by the 28th. So right after the solstice, you feel the shift right around then. But the 28th really brings it to a head, and you feel this immense shift through how you choose to look at all of this and act this out, what your greater philosophy is, what greatly becomes how you decide to implement these habits into your life. And you get to offer some relief to the plan that you've created, to what's beyond the wall. And if you're already out there and you're putting all the work in and you've refined your skills and you're refining your skills to the point where you need to take a second and let Cancer season take control before your season comes, because you'll realize that there's so much more to work with when you release a little bit, that this protection is actually just the change that needs to happen. So what obviously the heart, but the unconditional heart teaches us is that when you learn to love yourself unconditionally, if you've learned to love others, what I've learned is that you create this very pure protection around you. And if you, whether you're not, you are one of those people and that's something that you're realizing now that you need, it's a time to give it to yourself. It's a time where you can easily change, easily shift your skills from this manual labor where you don't get to pick your head up for 2 seconds to having everything you need on your plate and then prospering. This old mindset is what's leaving. This is something maybe you've actually done, but this whole Cancer season wants to nurture you as well. It wants you to be the most glorious as ever during your season. Cancers really, they love attention if their ego's out of whack, they really love attention. However, they don't need it. If they're really in alignment, they don't really need it. They get it. They know they're gonna get it, whether it's negative or positive. They don't give a fuck. You do too, but you'll notice that your energy becomes so much more refined and so much more tiered to a certain frequency for certain people that you might want around. There's this part of you that feels very powerful, very much the shapeshifter in your own life. And you find that you actually want to share certain things, which changes things for you. For some of you, this could be a Taurus in your life who things are changing structurally. You could be moving in with them, moving with them, or you've really surrendered to one of their ideas, one of their ways of being. Or it's all this Taurus action happening and really getting to the brunt of it all. You're being asked to trust deeply with what is changing, even if it feels really big. It's a part of the intuitive process of digestion, which is Cancer season. Digestion the breast, the chest. I also think it's the rib cage, the shell. And you may feel vulnerable, but this change ultimately brings you to this part of yourself that feels the refinement within everything. Things don't agitate you as much after this season, even if they do during it. Things don't feel as hard anymore as they were. Something shifts in you where you want more than ever to be on top of your shit, even if it's your bullshit. You're easier to communicate with by the end of the month, but you might want to take your time this month, communicating when you're ready, on your terms, as you are, knowing what's going on behind the scenes, knowing that the 2 to the 10 to the 8 is a big change. This 8, look at, they're just coming out of nowhere. They're going with it. Anything that's tried to be forced right now with effort isn't going to work, because you're just going to exhaust yourself. So take the hand if something's extended to you, but not obviously within reason. If it's something that's against your will or going to put you in a bad mental space or not make you feel as confident as you are moving forward, I would let it slide, because new ideas and new magic are coming your way. This is all just stuff that needs to be rehashed, relooked at, shifted, changed in order to get the most out of what's coming next. Mars entering Taurus as well on the 5th, so the new moon and then Mars entering Taurus. I think that's going to shift the way that you communicate as well. You might feel less likely. You're not someone to share everything anyway, unless you know who you're around. But you may find yourself wanting to be more communicative in the foundational ways. You may feel like you have much to give and you will want to give it, and you feel like you're at that skill level. By the end of the month, you really see where you're at. You see all the flowers blooming around you. You see and feel maybe just as beautiful as ever. Cancer season brings you into your season feeling amazing, like you were so nurtured and cared for, but you also have to decide to allow it. You can, and you love being pampered, don't get me wrong, you love being that one who is in the midst of it all. It just depends on who's around you and what's the vibe. Do people get you? Do you get what you're doing? Well, yeah. But what is it that you are looking forward to? Because things are going to move fast regardless. So sharpening what you're taking and knowing that if anything drops along the way, it's okay. You're sharp right now. You're focused. Even when things are going this way, it's because you're so focused on what's actually happening and what's so in the present. The moment is so refined. So you might find yourself in a literal moment this month that completely makes you see with clarity how capable you are of proceeding further, of having more than you already do, of doing more of what you love and what you're really passionate about, what really sparks your interest, what really gets your mind going. There could be a Gemini or a Sagittarius that comes up. You may not want to listen to them, but they may have some good advice for you if you so choose to listen. Because even you know, you need those people around you that you can trust, regardless of how they portray it. It's something that you understand that's necessary. You don't take that lightly, even if you play it off like you do at first. But by the end of the month, everything's cool. Everything, not to saying that anything wasn't, but everything's set in motion. It keeps rolling. And through it, you learn to roll with it. I don't think people understand that Leos don't want that, or maybe you don't want to be perceived anymore as someone who can't be in flow, because you can. But you choose yourself while you do it. You're protected. Trust that you're protected. So, refine where it's needed, but don't put too much emphasis on how you're going to play it out, because there's more magic in that. And what couldn't be better before your season? Happy birthday to the early Leos, July Leos, and we'll see you next month.